What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. And this is like our podcast. We're over here on our Discord in a voice chat lounge with Net Devil and One Day, and we're discussing the cost to borrow. Now, they had a question concerning cost to borrow, and I appreciate One Day. He come in immediately and he was ready to answer it for us. So we're going to get into that discussion right now. We're talking about cost to borrow and how a lot of the YouTubers were saying that cost to borrow was 475%, and I was explaining how that's wrong and how it's wrong. It's not that the cost to borrow is 475%. That's the maximum. Somebody paid 475% interest to borrow however many shares of AMC they needed. That means they needed them shares pretty fucking bad. So what's going on? Me and Net Devil's been talking for about an hour here in the lounge, and One Day's talking, just chimed in. He's been here listening, but he finally got his mic to working. So what's happening One Day?
Hello, man. Yeah, I'm listening the whole hour.
Awesome.
And I was just thinking about that CTB max average that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, people don't understand it. It's not the average price. It's just one single hit.
One single
We have
transaction.
to get that. Yes. If someone wants to pay, I don't know, 5,000%, it will show up at the CTB high.
Right.
It will be that high. But it's not the average.
It'll
Average
be
is like 16 or something.
It'll be the maximum cost to borrow will be 5,000% if somebody was willing to pay 5,000%.
Wants to pay that one time. Yeah, exactly.
The point here is, though, somebody was needing AMC shares so bad they were willing to pay that. And the second point is somebody, when they got the call that they needed them shares, put the dick to them and said, yeah, for 475% profit, 475% interest, you can borrow these shares. But that is not the average. I've tried pulling it up, but with so many tabs open, it's going too slow. I'm not sure what the average cost to borrow is, but that's what you look for.
I think last night, yeah.
I can look that up for you right now, boss.
Yeah, because I don't subscribe to
I think
Ortex.
it's like 40 something, 60 maybe.
I don't subscribe to Ortex.
But hey, it's ramping up. For like 2 months ago, it's like 2 or 3%, so it's going up.
Oh, it's
more and more we're going to pay higher and higher numbers, so we are going to see higher numbers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know who still has shares out there to loan, but those that do have shares to loan, they realize what them shares are worth.
Hey, boss.
Hmm.
The average is 16.47%.
Wow, that's pretty high. 16.4?
47%.
47% cost to borrow.
Yes, sir.
So, if on average, people who call, they may get the interest rate for their shares at 30%. Another one might call someone else like BlackRock and get it at 12%. And it becomes an average, of 16.47%. But somebody was willing to pay 475% for their AMC shares. Which tells
I just
us.
texted that to your phone so you could have all the information ready for your audience.
I see you just popped up. Okay, good. This is the audience. I'm fixing to close it out now. So, I just wanted to do a quick little shout out, introduce Net Devil, which is one of the moderators and the administrators of our Discord. He keeps things moving and growing for us. We appreciate Net Devil. Appreciate One Day.
Hey, everybody.
I wish Chris was here because One Day, Chris, and Net Devil are the most active in the chats. Shelby, we shout out to Shelby. But I just wanted to get that cost to borrow shit straight. That it is not, a lot of YouTubers were saying, oh, the cost to borrow is $475. No, it's not. One person was willing to pay that now. I'd like to know who that was.
Hey, Hey, now before you end your audience update, may I ask a question on behalf of the audience?
Yes, sir.
If they're jacking up the max like that to like 475.7%, according to my screenshot here, does that indicate that the shares are so low in availability?
Right. That's what it means. That's what it means.
Okay.
Now this is going to be kind of a crazy analogy for y'all, but when I was in prison, you had to go to the store on Thursday. Well, it's Monday, and I'm hungry. So I would go to what was known as the store man. And the store man would give you a honey bun 2 for 1, which means on Thursday he expected 2 honey buns back because he gave me a honey bun to eat. Now, if his inventory got low, he knew the value of what he had, and it wasn't 2 for 1 no more. He might 3 for 1 me a honey bun, which meant when the time came due to pay the debt, I had to give him 3 honey buns for 1 honey bun that I ate. That's what cost to borrow is. Now, there was a time when I was my brother got into a poker debt, and we needed about $50 worth of store. Well, he charged him 5 for 1 then. He took advantage of my brother needing that store, that $50 store, to pay off a gambling debt. So he charged him 5 for 1. You can't deny it because you need it. Same thing with AMC. Somebody was in a position where their AMC shares were coming due. They needed them shares right then. And somebody knew it, and they took advantage of it, and they charged them 475% profit. Now,
do you think they was trying to borrow them so they could short them even further to try to make their money back?
There's a couple of things. They could have borrowed them to short them. They could have borrowed them to because they were getting recalled and they didn't have the shares anymore. So they needed to go borrow, and that's when you start getting in real bad debt, is when you're borrowing to pay off a debt. Because then now you owe that debt. So you never get out of the hole. So that's another reason why people would borrow the shares, is they were getting recalled. They didn't have the shares. They had to borrow the shares again from somebody else, and they got the dick put to them for 475%. I would love.
Like you say, there was a video where I think it was a live, one of the lounge chats we was talking. He was teaching all of us that, like, if we go through Edward Jones, you said to keep on top of him and call him, make sure they wasn't loaning out our shares.
Right.
Does that mean like Eddie Jones or somebody along those lines was loaning out shares, and there was one of their customers who was trying to call back to get, make sure their shares wasn't loaned out, so they immediately turn around because they already loaned out.
Since I'm a
trying to get it back.
Since I'm a controversial.
I'm wording it. Yeah, I'm kind of wording it confusingly.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I understand completely. Say it one more time, though, because I had a little sundial and my mind ain't working completely. So say that one more time.
You said during one of our lounge chats that we got to be on top of it. And, like, if we go through like a brokerage like Edward Jones, like I do, there's a chance in their fine print of the contracts you sign with them, they can loan out your shares at any time at their discretion.
Let's use Fidelity. Let's use Fidelity, for example, because Fidelity is where a lot of people promote that you should go, because they go to the lit exchange. You have to, and I know, you have to go into your settings. You have to change your settings. You have to say that you want it to go to a lit exchange. But even though people were doing that, they were changing, the company, Fidelity, would change it, and they would send the order to their dark pool. So it made no difference where you're at. And my point was, you have to look in your transaction history, pull up that buy order, and make sure it went to the lit exchange. Fidelity, even though they had set their shares to go to the lit exchange, Fidelity was sending it to their dark pool, and you didn't know that unless you look at your transaction history. But every company is guilty of this. Every company. So I hope that helps y'all understand cost to borrow. It is not the fact that the cost to borrow is 475%. The cost to borrow, as Net Double just pulled it up and shared with us, is actually 16.47%, which is extremely high, don't get me wrong. But that is what the average, when they call looking for shares, that's the interest payment they're going to get. Same as if you go to a pawn shop and you put up your collateral and you get your money and you get an interest payment of 16.47% on whatever it is they loaned you. So that's what cost to borrow is. And that's the truth behind the 475%. Love y'all. See y'all in the next video. Be blessed.